This is the Tesla Model 3 Long Range all-wheel drive, and I specified the all-wheel drive now because there is now an additional trim level you can get for the Tesla Model 3, which is the Long Range rear-wheel drive. But anyways, yes, this is the one that has the most performance out of it, short of getting the performance. And I think it's one of the ones that will be purchased the most out of any of the Tesla Model 3 trim levels. I'm Aiden, and you're watching God Next. Now, there are multiple trim levels you can get of the Tesla Model 3. The first one's going to be the base rear-wheel drive, the long-range rear-wheel drive, the long-range all-wheel drive like we have here, and the performance all-wheel drive, which is what I have and that we've done in previous videos. Now, the interesting thing is that Tesla's always had a very clever way of marketing their vehicles by price. If you go to their website configurator right now, you'll see when you click on this car that it's only $34,000. Which is not the entire truth. See, that is $34,000 after the $7,500 factored in EV tax credit you can now get on this car, and the $5,000 in gas savings in California that you could have if you bought this car in California. See, in other states, the cost of gas is not $5 to $6 a gallon. Here in Nevada, it's more like $4, sometimes less in the winter, but yes, you will not be getting $5,000 in gas savings per year by owning this specific vehicle, depending on which state you live in. If you live in California, maybe you will, but here you definitely won't, and I definitely am not going to see it on my Tesla. But anyways, yes, I really think this is the one most people will be buying if you decide to click on the button that deselects the savings you'll have. This one is around $47,000, which is about $6,000 shy, $7,000 shy of the top range trim level of the Tesla Model 3. I don't think it's a bad price. I think you're getting quite a bit for $47,000, and it definitely has more packed into it than other $47,000 cars are on the market. But first, let's talk about what Tesla has changed with this new version of the Model 3. Of course, this just came out in around April of 2024, but they've done quite a bit, as you can see, and as I've gone over with the performance before. You have new headlights, a new front end, you have new rear end. This one has new rims and everything that are on it. These are the 18-inch rims that you can get on the Tesla Model 3 Long Range. There is a 19-inch rim option that has rims that are a aluminum color rather than this blacked out color. So if you like the blacked out color, you're gonna have to get the 18-inch rims. This one is finished in their metallic gray color. Other colors that you can get on this are going to be blue, white, black, and red. The red looks cool in the photos. I kind of wish I got red on mine, but you know, those are the around 5 color options you can get for this car. I think the gray is fine. This is what it comes with as standard, and as you can see, it also has the standard black interior as well. But overall, I think it's a much better looking car than the previous version. They've really rounded it out. They've really made it look sharper, meaner, if you could say that about an electric car. But overall, it's just a better looking car. You do have a frunk, of course, which surprisingly, there's only a couple brands out there that can manage to make a frunk work. I mean, at least Ford's doing it, but if you look at something like the new BMW electric cars, you don't get a frunk. You just get a plastic cover with a large open space under the hood of the car, not a frunk for additional storage. So, I don't know. I think for the most part, it's a really, really well-rounded car with a lot of good practicality. So, let's move to the back, see what they've done back there. Now, just like on the Model 3 Performance, you have new taillights back here, which look much sharper, much better. Instead of having the Tesla badge back here, you just have Tesla in all letters in their Tesla font. Of course, it has dual motor here because it is the all-wheel drive. And in the trunk space, you're gonna have 24 cubic feet of cargo room back here. As you can see, all of our camera equipment fits perfectly fine, electronically closing trunk. Now, if you want a little more storage, you should probably go for the Model Y, which is gonna have around 76 cubic feet of cargo space. Now, normally in this part of the video, I would show you how the exhaust sounds. Not so here. It's an electric car, and that's all about the cool stuff that you have in the back. So, moving on. Now, Teslas are known to be very technologically advanced vehicles, especially for their price. The Model 3 is not short of that at all. You have cameras all around the car, as you can see right on the front, integrated into the fender area or the front quarter panel. You have the cameras on either side. You also have a sensor in the glass. You have a camera in the back, and what's really cool is this uses it used to use, or was supposed to use, sonic sensors to map its surroundings. But when I had ordered my Tesla Model 3 Performance, they had delayed it and they had switched from the sonic sensors to the cameras for detecting collision elements around the car. So now they use cameras to detect that rather than the ultrasonic sensors or whatever they were going to use before now. But yes, tons of safety technology all over this car. It's interesting when you get really close to anything, it will scream stop at you and blare loud noises and everything like that. Sometimes to the point when something's not even there, it'll tell you to stop. It'll just make up stuff. They're not the perfect sensors. They do have their own little faults. They need a little bit of fine tuning, but for the most part, they'll keep you pretty safe when you're pulling into tight parking spaces, backing out of anything, or even driving really, really, really close quarters traffic or anything like that. So yeah, technology on the outside of this car is pretty cool. Then the interior of the Tesla Model 3 Long Range is really where it shines, and it's a pretty nice interior. A couple of things that they've changed in here for the 2024 model year, of course, is going to be the steering wheel. This is from the Model S. They've integrated the turn signals and everything into the steering wheel. Gone are the stalks on the side of the steering wheel as well. Instead of using the stalk to put it into whatever direction you want to go now, you can press the brake and you can do it through the screen, or there are buttons up next to the hazard lights that you can put it into P, R, N, or D. The thing is that they've really grayed these out so you can't really see them because they're not really meant to be used all that often. Tesla really wants you to be using the integrated infotainment system for that, which we'll get to in a bit because it is a doozy. This system is insanely complex. I guess not complex, but insanely has an insane feature set. As for the materials in here, they are pretty nice. The seats are nice, comfortable, and squishy. The door materials all over the door are nice. You have this nice velvety material on the door. If you get a Performance, this is leather, not the suede, but still, nonetheless, this is nice and soft. Soft armrest on the door, and you also have this this polyurethane leather going all the way down to the floor. The carpets are nice. Materials around the center console are nice. You have dual wireless chargers under the screen here. Plenty of storage, deep storage right here, cup holders, and then you have deep storage in the center console right here as well. The dashboard, nice. You have a massive AC vent that spans the entire dashboard of the vehicle. Those vents are controlled electronically instead of using manual adjustments, which I didn't like when Porsche did it. I don't like when Tesla does it, so I'd rather just have a thing that I manually adjust it with. You have a massive light bar spanning the entire car, even into the back seats, and it is changeable to basically whatever color you want it to be. Tons of customization options in here. Massive sunroof that spans front to back with this crossbar in the center, though. There are a couple things I want to talk about that, but we'll get there. The sound system in this car is really nice as well, but I want to jump into this infotainment system because it is super in-depth. This is basically the control center of the entire car. If you thought that the modern infotainment system in a normal gasoline vehicle has gotten complicated, you will be shocked about how crazy this has gotten. Now, not much with the infotainment system has changed necessarily, but of course, like I said, now they've integrated the fact that you can go into reverse or drive with this, or even park. What's cool is that if you come to a stop after going into drive, you actually don't have to put your foot on the brake to even shift into park. You just have to hold the P and it will do it for you. If you put your foot on the brake, though, you can just tap it. No Apple CarPlay or Android Auto with this. Bluetooth audio, you have a built-in Apple Music app that does not rely on your phone being connected to the car to work, though. To get it to work without your phone connected for Wi-Fi, you'll have to purchase premium connectivity for $9.99 a month. To add on to that, full self-driving. You can either spend $8,000 or you can spend $99 a month in a subscription model that you can cancel at any time. I think that's just Tesla trying to get a cash grab out of people, but if you want full self-driving, that is the cost of it. But yes, of course, you have the arcade here, you have the theater here, Hulu, Netflix, Twitch, YouTube if you want to watch. The arcade's got plenty of little fun games that you can play, even a racing game where it disconnects the steering wheel from the front axle. You can actually steer in the racing game with your steering wheel. Of course, speed, everything is shown on here as well. You have Sentry Mode, which is a security system that Tesla's used to detect any surroundings. If someone gets too close to the car, there's any anomalies around your car, it'll instantly start recording. Built-in dash cam 2 to detect on accidents. You can actually have that dash cam activate when you honk your horn, and it'll save the video if you have a USB drive plugged in. Great navigation system as well. The nav system in this car is extremely responsive, and honestly, I mean, it's just Google Maps, but the fact that it is not horrible and you can just use your finger to slide everything around is really nice. I'm looking at you, Apple Maps. But yeah, plenty of feature set, and even if you want to sing with your friends, they have karaoke too. So that's really nice. Heated and ventilated seats up front in the Long Range, of course. Dual zone climate control, single zone fan control up here, and then a single zone fan control in the back. Of course, you know, self-driving auto steer technology. If you get a new car, sometimes at least I got the 1 month of full self-driving for free. Other than that, you will have auto steer beta, which is a pretty cool thing. It can't stop at stoplights or anything like that, or make lane changes for you, but it's basically adaptive cruise control now, and it will use the camera up here to make sure you're paying attention to the road. But yeah, overall, it is a great front seat. I want to check out the back, though, and see how the rear passengers are going to be doing. Back of the Tesla Model 3, it is genuinely a nice place to be. You have an 8-inch touchscreen for the rear passengers. Basically, that controls the climate zones where the air is coming out. They also have heated seats back here as well. Some brands don't even do that for $47,000. You also have access to the entertainment center back here. You're going to have your entire theater toy box back here. Hulu, Netflix, YouTube, all those things, like I said. But the interesting thing is that Tesla won't let the front driver turn on the theater mode while they're driving. That makes sense. It's a safety concern. So maybe you'd have to Bluetooth your phone if you want to listen to your show on Hulu Play while you drive. Not so, because the entertainment system back here does work while the driver is driving. And even if they're alone, if they want to listen to their shows on Hulu, all they have to do is come back here, start whatever show or YouTube video that they want to watch, go back up front and drive, and it'll play through the entire car's speaker system. So yes, theater mode works. No, the driver's not going to be looking back here and watching the show as they drive, or at least I'd hope not. But yeah, you can still play those things if you're going to be driving. You just have to do it through the rear screen. As for connectivity back here, you have 2 USB Type-C ports. There's not a single USB Type-A port in this entire car. So if you're still using a USB-A charger with the big rectangle at the end, you will have to switch to USB Type-C. This is a very common thing going on in the car industry right now. The car industry as a whole is starting to phase out that method of charging completely, which I think is fine. Time to move on to the next standard. Knee room back here is okay. The guy who owns this car is like 6'6", so his seat is back pretty far, but in like my car, the rear passengers have never had a complaint. You're also set up pretty high, so you can see the road in front of you, which is good if you get car sick. The windows are nice and large, and let's see how far they roll down. That's depressing. Oh, by the way, you do have double paned glass now, that way to improve noise isolation from the outside. But yeah, this going down this much is pretty pitiful. Headroom is okay back here, and that is mostly because of how high the glass roof sits. Of course, you also have touch-activated map lights back here, coat hook. The materials back here are nice as well, more of that suede on the door. Nice materials, door rest is nice. Large door bins, good size on the back seat pockets and everything like that. But yeah, I think the rear seats of this car would be fine for most people. There's a reason that Tesla Model 3s are so popular with Uber drivers, so that doesn't make me feel good about myself. Anyways, let's get to driving it. Now, of course, an electric car cannot replace the fun of a gas car, but not every gas car can do this. See, because even though this isn't the performance model, it's still quite quick. The long range all-wheel drive will do 0 to 60 in 4.2 seconds. Now, Tesla doesn't just go out there and advertise its power numbers, but I'm assuming this makes high 300s, low 400s. The Model 3 Performance makes over 500. But to be honest with you, the Model 3 Performance in standard mode doesn't seem very different than this does. The Model 3 Performance, unlike this one, has an extra mode called Insane, and the whole point of that mode is to unlock all the power. That's when you get the 2.9 second, or lower in my case, 0 to 60 time, that's when you unlock that low 11-second quarter mile time. This isn't going to have that, of course, but this is still rightfully quick of a car. Now, of course, all Teslas are quick in their own kind of way. They're either fast or quick. There's not really a slow Tesla out there. So let's talk about how it drives. Of course, like I said, it's boring. It just feels like a normal car. I won't say boring. It just feels like a normal car to drive around every day. It's comfortable, that's for sure. These seats are nice and comfortable. The ride is nice and comfortable. And honestly, the range isn't really that bad at all. In the heat, it can be quite annoying because you're going to be running that AC all the time. The batteries aren't actually impacted by the heat. It's the running the AC all the time is definitely going to cause your batteries to drain. The cold, though, in the winter, you will see battery performance degrade compared to the spring, fall, and summer, just because the batteries don't perform well in a really, really cold environment. But yeah, it's very comfortable. Now they've added more noise insulation to the car, so you don't hear as much of the outside world when you're driving it, which is nice. And it can be pretty relaxing to drive. I mean, it just isn't anything special, especially for these long ranges. I mean, if you're planning on taking trips, this would definitely be the one for you. The performance can do it, but the performance, you hit the gas, and like, especially if you're in standard or insane mode, and you just get rocketed forward, and you use so much battery without knowing you're using the battery because of all that you can get out of it with speed and acceleration. The one thing I will say is if you live in a really dry, hot climate, you know, if you subconsciously just run the AC at 10 or 9 constantly and have it on low, kind of like how I do, you'll see your battery performance just degrade. Of course, not degrade, the batteries are fine, but you know, you'll see the battery life just drain constantly over and over again. In the mornings when it's not so hot and it's like 86 out and you don't really have to blast the AC because the sun's not been out, you know, at that point the battery life lasts quite a long time. But if you're driving midday in this heat, man, your batteries are not gonna last and make it that full range estimate. But it is nice. There are a couple things to get used to. Turn signals are on the steering wheel, so unless you've owned a Tesla or own a Ferrari, that's going to be a nice little adjustment you have to make, because Ferraris don't have turn signal stocks, they steering wheel. Same thing with wipers. Just about every control that you need for the car is going to be on the steering wheel or in the screen. There are no stocks on this one. But overall, I mean, you can see great out of it. The A-pillar is a little thick, in my opinion, but that's just a nitpick. I do wish that it still had a gauge cluster like the Model S. Looking over and trying to see the speed can be quite annoying. But I guess I should show you this. If you buy a new one, you get full self-driving for a month for free. All you have to do is click this right little scroll wheel, and this is just cruise control. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. The setting for this one is full self-driving supervised. Here we go. So basically, right now it's in full self-driving supervised. I wonder what happens if we click the turn signal. Oh, slow down. Well, there we go. So right now it's in full self-driving supervised, but there is an auto steer one. Your turn, pal. Oh my God! Okay. All right. I've used this before. I don't know why it's stressing me out. Okay, you're fine. There's an auto steer feature too. That was full self-driving, but auto steer will basically just do all that, except it won't turn and stop for you. You have to do that by yourself. So that's just something to keep in mind. And like I said, it's $99 for the full self-driving per month, or $8,000 if you're just a really big baller and need to do that. So overall, driving experience is pretty mundane. I mean, it is quick. It's got great acceleration. The owner of this car said he raced a 10-speed Mustang and beat him in the quarter mile with a long range and standard mode. That's insane. But, you know, it is a Tesla. They are just knowingly fast. So, yeah. So that was the Tesla Model 3 long range all-wheel drive. I think it's a great car and a great value, just like its more expensive cousin, the Tesla Model 3 Performance, which, by the way, we have a review of that out now. So if you want to go see the 5 coolest features I think of that car and why I also hate my Tesla Model 3 Performance, make sure you go click on those videos. If you guys like the video, make sure you hit that like button down below. And if you want to see more from us, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you all in the next video.